straight, eyes closed, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling that power you have, your determination to control your breathing. The same way you can take control of your mind anywhere you are, whatever you're doing. Let's use that same power, that same determination to see in our mind the image, the visions that we want to create today in our lives. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can on all of the stretches and exercises we do together here and now. Let's use that power we have, our true being, our presence, our determination to see in our mind right now, go into the future. Think about what you want to make real. Bring it to the present. That music goes off.
Hey, here come the trouble. Hey, here come the trouble.
That's a great ball. He's onside here, Van Persie. Oh, what a fantastic goal! What a fantastic goal!
Good morning, guys. How do we stay on our path to developing ourselves when things get tough? Maya Angelou reminds us today to be courageous. And we have to remember that that is a choice. In the most difficult time, in the most difficult circumstances, when people, things around us are negative and they're not serving us, we have to be the ones to make the choice. Being courageous is a choice. We have to remember that. We're going to be afraid the rest of our life to do many things. But if we lose our ability to choose courage, everything will stop. Our development, helping those around us, being the best we can be, it all stops. Unless we get back up and we get in there and we fight with courage to continue on our path, to help ourselves and each other. Have a great morning, everyone. Good morning, guys.
Hello, everybody. This feels like coming home. This is so exciting. So obviously today is all about focus, flow, and productivity. How many of you feel like you are professional multitaskers? Like give you a million things and like you can manage it. The busier you are, the better you are. You're the people that can like do 5 things at once, and your spouse or your partner says, "Were you even listening to me?" And you can repeat back exactly what they were saying. And one of the things that when I was thinking about like, okay, what does the world need? Like, what do we need right now? Is that we are finishing our days, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, but tell me if you're feeling this way too, where you're finishing a day and you've worked so hard and you're exhausted and you're like, wait, what did I actually accomplish? Like, I feel like I got nothing done. I actually feel more overwhelmed after working all day than actually getting things moving forward. And when I think about this last year, especially as we approach the year mark of when the world shifted and everything changed as we knew it, I'm thinking about how so many of us are wearing so many hats. For me, I operate as a family unit. My husband and my daughter are home all the time. I have a dog under the table right now who I'm praying she doesn't bark. And we're constantly being pulled in so many directions and wearing so many different hats. And when I first became a mother, one of the biggest challenges for me was feeling like I was constantly half in on everything, whether that was work or motherhood. I would be checking emails while I was nursing my baby, or, I'd be up in the middle of the night and then I'd start thinking about work when I was holding my child. And I realized that focus is so important, not just for us to get more done, because guess what? We're not efficiency machines. Our worth is not found in our output, but to feel accomplished and to finish our days like resting our heads and saying, well done. You did something today that was awesome, and you moved forward and you progressed in your life. Now, one of the things that was super interesting, and a study done by the American Physiological Association Cognition, they performed this on people trying to perform more than one task. And they realized that our mind and our brain are not naturally designed to perform in this way. And it can actually cost us. So when we are trying to multitask, it can actually cost us 40% of our productive time. So when I became a mother and I made the decision that I wanted to nurse my daughter, and that was going to be part of my job for the next year of my life, I realized that I had these very short windows of time to work. And maybe you can relate to that, whether you're in a 9-to-5 or you're working from home or you're building up your side hustle, you get these really small windows of time where you need to move the needle forward. And so if you think about the fact that multitasking can actually take away 40% of our productive time, we've got to figure out ways that we can actually focus so that at the end of the day, we're saying, man, I got so much done today, or I feel really capable, or I'm feeling really confident that I was productive. So we first have to kind of break down some of the lies. One of the things that I always say, and it's not my own quote, it's someone else's, but it's busy is not a badge of honor. For so long, when you run into someone at the store, or if you're sitting down with a friend and you're like, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm so busy. We started to like wear that and confuse that as something to be honored, that being busy meant that we must be successful, or that we must be doing big things, or that we must have found this secret. But being busy and being productive are two entirely different things. And I really want to make sure that we establish that difference, because one, it's going to change how we show up in our own lives, but it's also going to change how we destigmatize the whole act of hustle culture and busyness. I am very focused on lifestyle in the sense of wanting to be a present mother. I want to be a great CEO. I want to be a change maker and an impact leader. But when I'm working, I want to be productive. I don't want to be busy. I was recently just talking to my cousin, who's a single mother of 3, who had to work from home and also homeschool her children all at the same time. And I was like, I don't know how you got it done. And she's like, it's crazy how productive you can be when you know you only have a limited amount of time. And the thing that we tend to forget is that our time is a non-renewable resource. It's something that we can't go out, we can't earn more of, we can't get it back. And so I walk through life looking at time as my currency. And so when I think about time being my currency, it's super important that the ways that I'm spending it are indicative of the life that I want and the work that I'm doing. So the first thing is called a brain dump. Okay. I know it doesn't have a fancy word, but this literally has changed my life in so many ways. So have you ever felt that you have so many ideas swirling in your head? You're so overwhelmed that you don't even know how to take any action. It's almost like we're paralyzed in inaction because there's so many things we're trying to remember, so many things we know we need to do. So whenever I start to feel overwhelmed, which I'm going to be honest, even this week I was feeling this way, what I did is I opened up a blank document or took out a blank piece of paper and I wrote down every thought that was in my head. Like I almost imagine, like close my eyes and imagine the thoughts just pouring out of my head through my pen or through my keyboard. And they can be the most random thoughts. So it could be like, I need to book a pediatrician appointment for my child. I need to make sure this email gets responded to. I need to make this in my funnel and I need to work out, like whatever it is, it's like these things that are like living in our head that are almost like bogging us down. And so brain dumps are not meant to be pretty. They're not necessarily practical, but they're this way to release these thoughts from your brain and trust that they are safe. So if I ever wake up in the middle of the night and there's something on my heart or there's something weighing on me or there's something I'm even losing sleep over, I take the time to just really quickly write it down. I remember my grandpa always had a pad of paper by his bed and I never understood it. And he's like, my best ideas come in the middle of the night. But for me, when I can release that thought and say, okay, I know you safely exist here. I don't need to think about you until I'm ready to come back to you. It has been such a game changer for me. I think that a lot of times we worry that we're going to forget something. And so we almost keep these thoughts living in our brain as a means of like, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. But when we bog our brain down so much with all of these don't forget thoughts or all of these random things that we know we could take care of, not maybe now, but later, we're inhibiting our ability to think creatively, to think positively, to generate new ideas. So one of my team members, Kylie, she said that she does this every Sunday. So if you get the Sunday scaries, if Monday approaching kind of freaks you out and you're like, man, I'm about to start this new week and I have so much on my plate and I don't know if I can get it done. What she does is she drops everything onto a list or a document, or even we have like an organizational tool that we use inside of our company called Monday. It's basically a project management software, but basically she's like, I break down everything that's in my brain and I assign each task to a day of the week. And what she said, it's great reassurance when I see a stack of tasks or projects that give me that overwhelmed, like I have so much to do feeling. And when I see that they actually can fit into my week and that I have plenty of time to accomplish them. So
que quiero sentir tus labios besándome otra vez, suavemente. Bésame, que quiero sentir tus labios besándome otra vez. La morena tiene algo que me llena de sabor. Suave. Y esa blanquita tiene algo que me arranca el descontrol. Suave. Una de azúcar, dame dos de azúcar. Dame tres de azúcar, blanqui morena, una de azúcar.
attack.
Good afternoon, guys. Courage requires determination. It requires a desire that is so deep within you, so intense, that you know you're not stopping no matter what. And so for us to show courage each and every day as things happen to us that are not within our control and don't go our way, and yet we want to make change, we have to show courage in doing and making choices that perhaps are uncomfortable. Things that are going to scare us, things that are not going to feel good because we're not used to them, they require courage. And courage is only developed through endless, relentless energy, through determination. Choice by choice, getting back in there, even though it may not have gone your way, continuing to fight. And so determination is what's going to get you through and develop your courage so that you can feel the freedom you deserve. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
95% of your life is coming from observing the other people. And so your behavior isn't yours. How do we change these behaviors? I go, first of all, you don't even know what the behaviors are because you weren't there when they were being programmed. What did you learn when you were in utero? What did you learn during the year from 0 to 1? What did you learn from 1 to 2? And I'm saying your conscious mind wasn't working at that time. So whatever happened, it's not in your conscious mind. And so the significance about all this is profound because you don't know your program. 95% of your life is coming from the program. Your life is a printout of your programs. You don't have to go backwards in your life. You could just say, where am I today? And here's a simple point. So all of you out there, ready? The things that you like that come into your life, they come in because you have programs to acknowledge them. But the things you want, the things you desire, and you have to work hard. Why are you working so hard? The answer is whatever that destination you were trying to get to, your subconscious program does not support that destination. And that's why your conscious mind is working so hard to get there. So I say you got programs and you got them before you even knew you were being programmed. We have to identify those programs because if you want to change your life and you want to make it one that has wishes and desires, then you have to assess what are your programs now so that you can then change those programs and create the life you want.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Bruce Lipton, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, accumulate knowledge.
There's an old phrase, Amrit, that is just a stock phrase of the world because it's truism. It says knowledge is power. And everyone goes, oh yeah, knowledge is power, blah, 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 blah. And I go, no. Let me say it in a way that might be relevant to us now. I say, a lack of knowledge is a lack of power. And I say, we have been deprived of knowledge of who we really are, how powerful we are, because all the knowledge we get in growing up is how weak we are, how vulnerable. Oh my God, viruses are coming, parasites are coming, blah, 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 blah. Everything's falling apart. And I go, well, that's not true. It is true if you don't recognize your power. And I say, well, what power? And I go, well, one of the first things that disempowered us was the belief that genes control our life. Oh, why does that disempower us? I go, well, simple point. It says that as far as you know, you didn't pick the genes you came with. If you don't like your characteristics, you can't change the genes you came with. And then I add this little last one, the creepy one that says, well, the genes turn on and off by themselves without you. And I go, then why is this relevant? Well, if the genes are controlling my life and they're turning on and off without me, I am, definition, a victim of my heredity. Oh, there's heart disease running in my family. Oh, I'm going to get it. Cancer. Oh, I'm going to get the cancer. It's running in my genes. I go, that's a bunch of BS. Oh, that means belief system. That's a bunch of why is that relevant? And I say, because the idea that genes turn on and off by themselves is the biggest false story that you bought into, which took away your power because it says genes control you, you don't control your genes. And that's why you look at your fate is what genes did my mom and dad give me because my future is going to be determined. And I go, completely false. Genes cannot turn on and off. And I go, we've been programmed. Gene turned on. Cancer gene turned on. Gave me cancer. I go, no. A gene is a blueprint to make a protein. And I go, okay, let's unpack that. I go, the body that you see in the mirror, look on the screen, see yourself, all that. And I go, that is made out of protein building blocks. There are about 100,000 different protein types that come together, assemble them together, and I make a muscle cell out of some proteins, make a brain cell out of some other different proteins. So if I, try to tell the audience, I say, well, proteins are like Lego kit, Lego parts. They got 100,000 different pieces, different shaped pieces. And I say, how you assemble the Lego can create a muscle cell, or how you assemble them can create a brain cell, a skin cell. And I go, so the point about it is this. Proteins are the building blocks, but proteins break down. So you have to replace them. But I go, oh, they're very complex molecules. And I go, where do we get the proteins when they break down? I go, we have DNA. I say, what's that? It's a blueprint on how to make a protein. I go, so what? I go, it's a blueprint. I go, so? I go, this is the story I always say. So you go into an architect's office and she's working on a blueprint. And I say, lean over her shoulder and go, hey, tell me, is your blueprint on or off? And she would look at me and go, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off. It's a blueprint. And I go, aha, you're finally going to get it. A gene is a blueprint. It does not turn itself on and off. It doesn't know what it does. It doesn't know why it's needed. It has no knowledge other than how to make a protein. And I go, but you gave power to the genes. That's what we did. Oh, the genes control me. And I go, no. It's like the architect story. There's a blueprint. Blueprint doesn't work by itself, but it works with an architect who can read the blueprint and even modify the blueprint. And I go, oh, well, if the genes are the blueprint, then who's the architect? I go, our consciousness is ultimately translated into chemistry that goes into the blood. And that chemistry is what controls our genes.
Rule number 3, take your power back.
It's time for us to wake up and recognize that there's a program being played out here. We're in a Darwinian program because everyone accepts that as, oh, that's the science, even though Darwinian theory is wrong because evolution isn't on competition. Evolution is cooperation. That's the new insight that changes the game of struggle into harmony when we start to recognize we all have been programmed with a belief that if you're not out there fighting, somebody's going to walk all over you and you lose. So you better go out there and struggle and win and fight and all that. And I go, again, a garden is not a battleground. It's the height of cooperation and harmony. And what we have to do is let go. And the idea is the more you invest in the existing program, the more consciousness you feed that existing program, the more you broadcast the pattern of that existing program. And the only way out is stop. Does that mean I don't read the news? Well, actually, I don't read it. I just read the damn headlines, and that's enough for me to go, okay, I don't want to be there. I live in a different world. No, I'm in the same world as you. No, but I live in a different world. Why? Well, sometimes we have to recognize maybe it's time to take your power back. Maybe it's time to take your job back and do something that is more in harmony with your life. I mean, I was a tenured professor in a medical school, but when I realized I was teaching incorrect information that genes control life, which is totally false, I said, no, I can't do this anymore. And the beautiful part about it is, guess what? I'm living this most wonderful life. And I go, how did I do that? I said, I had to let go of the programs that I knew I was engaged in that didn't offer vitality, life, energy, love. If they didn't offer it, then get the hell off of it because it sucks your energy. Energy is life. I talk about what's called an energy checkbook. And I go, what's that? I go, you have a bank account. That's the money in there is your life. I go, yeah, it is. I go, you just don't write checks for nothing. Hey, oh, Lynn, what a beautiful blue sweater you have here. Let me give you $20. That was really nice. You know, you don't do something like that. And I say, we have been giving away our energy so much with no return coming back. I go, what do you mean? I say, well, you get into some like a political argument between people, and they get all heated up and they use all this energy. And I said, and after the argument, what changed? Nothing. I said, then what the heck? Energy is life. You just gave away your energy. You're losing life. And that's when all of a sudden I realized, invest your energy into things that either enhance your vitality or the vitality of the world in which we're living, because those are places to build a better world. To invest your energy in the negative things and all that kind of stuff like that, you're building a bad world with that. And you're using your own energy, your life gets shortened. And so the reality is consciousness is real. It's a currency. And if you use it and spend it appropriately, you can have a much better life.
Rule number 4, eliminate negative beliefs.
Negative.
Se rumora que su nombre es María, María, María. ¿Quién diría que me enamoraría aquel día, aquel día?
Hey, oh la señorita, dis-moi si tu penses qu'on s'est tout dit. Je t'ai pas dansé, donc ce soir je fais tout petit.
Ella, una señorita bella de la cabeza a los pies, pero lo que más me gusta es cuando habla francés. Francia, baby, qué elegancia, perfume Chanel, Dior, baby, qué fragancia, está rica, delicious, you look scrumptious, I just wanna be inside, feel your emotion, me mandas un emoji de eso que soy como el diablo, ¿por qué no hablas de frente, baby, háblame claro, en este cuento yo no quiero ser el malo, no mandes señales, vámonos directo al grano, dime, si tú y yo nos vamos al lugar lejano, sigue ese movimiento, se rumora que su nombre es María, María, María. ¿Quién diría que me enamoraría aquel día, aquel día?
Hey, oh la señorita, dis-moi si tu penses qu'on s'est tout dit. Je t'ai pas dansé, donc ce soir je fais tout petit.
Ella, una señorita bella de la cabeza a los pies, pero lo que más me gusta es cuando habla francés.
Dis-moi ce que t'attends de moi. Je t'ai vu apparaître et disparaître comme un ninja. T'entends des choses sur moi, tu te méfies, je le sais déjà. Je te retiens, tu m'échappes, silencieux comme un chat. Bon courage à celui qui te mariera. Je vais me contenter de t'appeler Maria. Sous le soleil de Santa Monica ou Santa Maria. Dis-moi ce que tu veux, dis-moi ce que t'attends de moi. Je t'ai vu apparaître et disparaître comme un ninja. T'entends des choses sur moi, tu te méfies, je le sais déjà. Je te retiens, tu m'échappes, silencieux comme un chat. Toujours à l'affût de quelques dinero. Pas facile d'aimer avec un cœur derrière les barreaux. J'ai perdu beaucoup de sang, il serait temps de me faire un galop. Juste après la paix, una ligne yo te quiero.
Se rumora que su nombre es María, María, María. ¿Quién diría que me enamoraría aquel día, aquel día?
Hey, oh la señorita, dis-moi si tu penses qu'on s'est tout dit. Je t'ai pas dansé, donc ce soir je fais tout petit.
Ella, una señorita bella de la cabeza a los pies, pero lo que más me gusta es cuando habla francés.
Baila, baila, mamacita. Baila, baila, mamacita.
Se rumora que su nombre es María, María, María. ¿Quién diría que me enamoraría aquel día, aquel día?
He must be thinking already. Look at this. Miguez. He's gone past 3 of them. He's going to score, is he? Yes, he is. What a brilliant solo goal from Saul Miguez. That was just sensational.
Buddy,
Good evening, guys. I want to share a story with you today to help us remember how hard it is to develop courage, but how possible it is too. And one necessary thing we have to learn to take in, and that is the fact that there's going to be a lot of negativity or a lot of rejection that we have to face as we grow on our path. And I remember Les Brown, a story he shared about his high school teacher telling him to get back in there every single day when he was trying to get a job as a DJ. And I remember there's one time where his former high school teacher said to Les Brown, he said, go back again. He goes, some people are so negative that they will have to say no 7 times before they say yes. And it made me laugh because just the way it was phrased. And I thought, it's so true. We got to keep going even after all the rejections. Have a good evening, everyone.
Hard work will not make you rich. I get driven nuts by the amount of gurus and influencers and whatever who want to brag and say, no one can outwork me, I'm the best in the world. So many people outwork me. I still make more money than them. There has to be something else. One of the things that grinds my gears about a lot of the people that I see on Instagram, that you probably see too, is this whole like, no one can outwork me mantra. First off, it's objectively false because many people, A, outwork you today, B, outwork you in the past, C, you haven't met everyone, and D, it doesn't fucking matter anyways. It's the same thing when someone's like, I'm the best, and you have to say you're the best, because if you don't think you're the best, it shows that you're not confident. To me, I don't take that at all. If someone's like, I'm the best, then why aren't you on billboards? That's what the best would look like. Absolutely, you need to do the work. You need to put volume in. It's the only way you get better. But if you start claiming that you are the best, you cannot be outworked. You are making statements that you know are not true. Why are we bragging about work? Because work has very little to do with the highest levels of the game. Warren Buffett talks about if he makes 2 good decisions a year, he's had a good year. And so how is it that one of the best investors, one of the best business people in terms of measuring it by money, which is how you measure business, talks about how he does basically nothing, reads 5 or 6 hours a day, eats McDonald's, and makes a couple good decisions a year? How is it that that guy is making so much more money than the people who are bragging about the fact that they work so hard?
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I was making $300 a month. I quit on my business partner, and the thing that saved me was studying the stories of super successful entrepreneurs. So I hope that this story today helps give you the motivation you need, because I still need it too myself.
So today, let's learn from one of the best, Alex Hormozi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
Everyone only has the same hours of the day. Anybody who only sleeps 8 hours or only sleeps 7 hours and works the remaining of hours of the day, all of them would be tied for hardest working. So what creates output? You have volume of activity, and then you have the leverage of the activity that you're doing. That's what creates the total output. In order to do anything, you must do something. There has to be some level of energy that gets input into the system. Our activity, in terms of number of activities, is a very newbie measure of success in the beginning. Warren Buffett doesn't say, I sent 1,000 emails today. He doesn't talk like that. He's playing a different game. Jeff Bezos isn't like, woke up at 4 a.m. today. Now, mind you, I'm saying this as somebody who likes waking up early. But we can't be as superstitious about what matters. Waking up early doesn't matter. Going to bed late doesn't matter. Not sleeping a lot doesn't matter. The few things that matter are the inputs that go into the system that have the most leverage to create the most output. Now, if you're a newbie and you can't get your ass off the couch, then by all means, figure out how to actually get your ass off the couch and do stuff. But then there's only so many hours, and so boom, and then very quickly you hit your capacity of work. Great, you've maximized that. Now what? The leverage that we have on that activity is going to dictate how much we get out of it. And if we do a low leverage activity many times, we might get more than a high leverage activity that gets done once. A CEO who's going to work with Acquisition.com works virtually every hour of every day when they come in. Almost everybody does. So sometimes they ask, they're like, am I going to be working more? We're like, it's impossible for you to work more. But you are going to be changing what you work on, because that's the only lever we have. There's only 24 hours. So we're going to switch these 9 out, and we're going to plop these in with higher leverage activities. And so the way that we do that is we look at their calendars and we look at their org chart. This is how you grow a business. You look at what they spend their time on, and you see which of these activities are low leverage. Is there anyone else in this org chart that we can hand these activities to? And if a large percentage of these activities are a certain type of thing and they don't exist in the org chart, then it's a role that we need to hire. The point of why I hate the concept of no one can outwork me is that there are many ways to win the game. If you were to think about an amazing goal as a dragon to be slain. If you are familiar with video games in any way, when you create like a war party, you have a group of people that are going to go on a quest. You don't just have 10 paladins or guys who just have shields and swords. So you've got a healer, a mage that's really good at damage but can't take a lot of damage. Then you've got a paladin who can't hit as hard, but he can take a lot of shots. You find people who have complementary skills. If you're playing football, you don't have 10 running backs. The entrepreneur really should be the coach of the team. It's about organizing the pieces and how well they play together that ultimately determines how good the team is. Like, how many times have you seen the team with the all-star that has the poor supporting cast get beat by the overall better team? It happens all the time. A lot of entrepreneurs, as I see them, are trying to play the game like they're the star player and they want to score all the points, but they lose to Apple because Apple's got a team. We celebrate a specific action like work when it's really just saying, oh, look, there's a paladin who can take a lot of hits. Cool. That's not the only thing that's required to win. I think what is more valuable is to know what are each of the roles that exist within the business, A. B, is there one of these that you map to based on your characteristics and skill sets? And then C, what is my eventual evolution through entrepreneurship? We'll start at the beginning, which is what are the players on the field? So if you think about it by function, you've got somebody who has to promote, who's got to be a good marketer. They have to understand how to make things known across different platforms, telling stories, building a brand, providing value to an audience. That's what marketing is. Sales is being able to convert that raw attention into a sale. Direct response ads, sales pages, video sales letters, etc., which is pretty much anything that's physical products or software based that's low ticket, or it's higher ticket, people to people, hand to hand combat who know how to, in the beginning, sell, and then later train how to sell, and then later lead people who train how to sell. These are not necessarily the same people. I've met really brilliant marketers who suck at sales, and really good salespeople who suck at marketing. Then you've got somebody who understands product. How do we make something beautiful? The guy who started Shopify, he's not CEO of Shopify. He's head of product. He's a mage. He knows how to cast spells. And then you've got the experienced people who are managing everything outside of the actual product itself. How do customers engage with us? How can we provide more value? How can we give them an amazing experience? How do we make sure they're hitting these milestones? This person who knows customer experience and customer success is not the same person who understands product and UX and design. That's a different game, which is different than the guy who knows how to close, who's different than the guy that knows how to promote. The bigger the enterprise gets, the more specialized the skill becomes, and the deeper the well of experience that people need to be. They have to be more specialized. When people are like, I can't be outworked, you're bragging about the wrong thing. It should be like, I can't be out-recruited. I can't be out-managed. No one can build a culture like me. That's super high leverage across the organization. No one can lead like me, but no one can outwork me. It's just an irrelevant activity metric. I love working. I work all the time, but I would never claim that no one works harder than me. I tend to have very good leverage with the activities that I do. I spend tons of time writing a book, and that book prints and sells copies forever. It's a different way to play the game. And so level 2 of this, which player you are. In the middle run of this, you end up segregating yourself to a portion of the business that you're an expert at or that you're best at. CMO or chief sales officer, chief product officer. It's not about one player being the champion here. It's about how the team works together, which then gets to the third level of this. It's just about being the coach. Think about what the best coaches do. They're literally trying to headhunt the best players and they're trying to recruit the best people from college. Look at what Google does. Think about their recruiting efforts. They have huge influxes dedicated to getting the best and smartest people out of college. And they have another ring for the best and smartest people coming out of business school. And then another one is their very high level recruiting at the top of the executive level. The parallels between sports and business, they are almost the same in that way. Now, mind you, you can only have 10 or 11 people on the field. You might have 10,000, but if each of those players represents a function or department of the business, it makes more sense. When we move up the levels of entrepreneurship, we need to make sure that we're playing the right game and that we're using the right metric to measure our success. Final level of this is being the coach, is recruiting the top level executives and creating a farm system underneath to feed into the company that you have so that you can have a sustained competitive advantage and create a dynasty for the team so you can create the best winning team every year and have the soft skills of creating a culture of high performance so that you get the most out of every individual player. And the difference between amazing coaching and mediocre or poor coaching is what would players do if they had no coach or leader? And then what would they do if they had the best coach and best leader? The delta between those two is the value of the coach, the value of the CEO. The CEO needs to have the highest return on time out of anyone in the organization because they need to always be solving the next problem. As long as when they replace their time, the activities they do with the new stuff builds the business even more, then that trade will always work. And if a CEO can come in and turn a business around, even behemoths around, in 2-3 years, based on the standards they set and the values that they stand for, that delta across the entire organization is your greatest leverage.
Rule number 2 is choose friends carefully.
I have shit.
Feel that? Feel that power? That oneness of us controlling our breathing and our minds? Right here, right now? No matter how hard our movements, exercises were today, no matter how much our body tried to take control of our minds, feel that? That's you. The real you. That's our consciousness. Our being awake fully. To control our minds, to control our breathing, to control our bodies, to control our lives. It's all possible through the power of you being present, staying in the now, right here, right now, wherever you are, wherever you are. There is no past and future right now. There is only the present, the gift that is you. The being that is you, which makes everything else possible.